How's it going, guys? It's Brian. So I've had my 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL Sport S for about a month now, and I love the pants off it. I love driving it. It's such a blast to drive. I got it on the highway and I had the freedom panels off, and it's that open air experience, nothing like it. But I harped on how awesome it was in my last video, so I'm not going to divulge into that too much. But what I am going to share with you is I ran into my first issue with this Jeep Wrangler JL. So it has the stop-start feature, which, if you're not familiar with it, it basically cuts off the engine when it senses that you're stopped. It automatically shuts off the engine to save gas, and it's good for the environment, I guess. I feel like there's not a lot of tangible research that's been done to prove that, but it shuts off the engine, and then the minute you release the brake, it starts the engine again, and you start moving. Unfortunately, what Fiat Chrysler did in their infinite wisdom was they gave you your main battery, which is here, and then just below it, you have an auxiliary battery, which powers the stop-start feature. Now, both the batteries are connected and intertwined and dependent upon one another. Unfortunately, what happened, and what shouldn't have happened, was I got stranded at a stoplight. Basically, on your Jeep, on the infotainment center, it will tell you the status of your stop-start feature. It'll say, stop-start status ready, or it'll say, stop-start status disabled, and give a reason. It could be a reason such as the hood's up, or, you know, the battery's not charged, or the door's opened, a bunch of different reasons. Now, I didn't really pay too much attention to that because I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. But I started it up on a cold Tuesday morning and went to go to drive to work, and when it's disabled, it usually senses it and doesn't try to stop start because it says it's disabled, which I was used to at this point. I was like, it's probably cold. Maybe the battery's bad. I'm not sure. I'll look at it later. I get to a light. It stops, and it doesn't start again. It killed the battery. It killed, I'm guessing, the aux battery, and it killed the main battery. So I was stuck in the middle of the road at this intersection, and unfortunately, because this Wrangler has an automatic and it's electronic, I couldn't get it into neutral. It was gone, it was off, I couldn't get any power to anything, or not enough power, I should say. I had the hazards on, but I could see that everything was starting to dim and the battery was dying very quick, so I didn't really know what to do. I'd never been in that situation before. I'd seen people in that situation and said, thank God it wasn't me, but in this case, I was that person. So it's like 7 in the morning, a little earlier than 7 in the morning, so there's not too much traffic, but that intersection does pick up with traffic, so I was kind of like, what am I going to do here? So I basically just called Carvana and asked them for roadside assistance, and they said the soonest we can get out to you is like in 180 minutes. And I said, you got to do better than that. I'm in the middle of an intersection that's starting to get very, very busy. An accident's going to happen. So they said, okay, we'll patch you through to 911. Patch me through to 911. I talked to the dispatcher. They send a cop out. Cop is very nice. You know, he offers to get me a ride to work and everything. And he kind of pulls his car kind of like semi-perpendicular to mine just to alert traffic, hey, something's wrong here. And he says, when did they say they were coming out to get you? And I said, they said 180 minutes. And he said, we can't wait that long. We got to get you out of the road. So he called a tow truck. I guess they had an in with a tow truck company as first responders. And they got a tow truck out there in like 20 minutes. The tow truck driver could not jump the battery because the main battery is connected to the aux battery. And, you know, you can't jump it in the traditional fashion. So he went into the cabin of the car and used a transmission override tool, got it in neutral, towed it to, you know, my mechanic who's right around the corner, and they took a look at it and said, you know, your main battery's toast. You need a new one. Carvana covered it, which was nice. So it gave me a new battery, and I was up on the road again. Now, the stop-start feature still would not register. It just kind of said, stop-start not ready for insert excuse here, and I didn't really pay any mind to it because I was like, bro, at this point, I'm just hitting the, I'll show you. It has a manual off button you can hit, you know, and I was just right here. Every time you start up, I would have to mash it and turn the stop-start feature off because, unfortunately, with the Jeep, it just defaults to automatic stop-start every time you turn the car back on. It doesn't remember what setting you had it on. There's no OEM feature to do that. So, unfortunately, I couldn't do anything besides that, but I just said from now on, that's always going to be off every chance I get. And I've just been doing that. Now, my wife and I drove down to Delaware over the weekend to go to this Fright Fest for Halloween. It was a good, like, hour drive, probably about 60 miles. And that gave the new battery time to charge up, so I feel a sneeze coming on, so I apologize if I pause. But, so we drove down there, drove back. I could see that the battery was kind of leveling out when I was idling or moving slowly at about 12 volts and some change, which is good because if it's at 14, that means it's trying to charge. And you don't want your battery to be constantly charging. It should be able to maintain a charge once it's charged. So I was like, okay, that's good. And then I noticed when we just came home from the grocery store, the stop-start feature wasn't enabled. So I said, let me just see if it'll work. Waited till we got in the driveway of our house before I did this, mind you. But did the stop-start feature, it cycled, and then I got this error. And I'll turn the car on to show you. So you'll power her up, and everything comes on. I know the hood's open, so that's on there, but you'll see. So it says stop-start unavailable, stop-start, service stop-start system. And then there's that A right over here, and that's signifying there's an issue with the stop-start system. So at this point I said, you know, shit, I don't want to take any chances here. So I looked at ways to just make it so that I'm assuming what's going on is the aux battery is going bad. And what can happen, like I said, is the aux battery can poison your main battery. If it's going bad, it can also drain your main battery, and you're not having a good time. So I have ordered a stop-start delete kit, which basically you bypass a bunch of the connections under the steering wheel, which I'll probably do a video when it comes in, but I ordered that. That will make it so that it automatically memorizes that you have the stop-start feature off. It won't try to turn it on. What I also did, in the meantime, is here is your negative terminal for your main battery. Over here is your negative terminal that goes to the aux battery down below the main battery. So what I did to prevent the presumably bad auxiliary battery from draining the main battery is I just disconnected it, wrapped it in electrical tape so it doesn't touch anything and short anything out, and I zip tied it to whatever this notch is over here, just to hold it out of the way. It's suspended in the air. It shouldn't touch anything. You know, it can't really reach anything even if I bounce around. And then I went under here to the fuse box, and I disconnected fuse number 42, I believe. And that should keep the Jeep's ECU, or whatever you want to call it, from... It disables the relay. So basically, the Jeep will search for 12 volts to enact the stop-start feature. And because the fuse isn't there, it won't go searching for that. And what will happen is now it won't try to... Now that the main battery and the aux battery aren't connected from the negative terminal anymore, there's no connection, the negative, or the aux battery can no longer drain the main battery. So... for now, I'm in the clear. Again, I don't like the stop-start feature, so as soon as I get this kit in, I'm going to plug it in, override all that. Hopefully that'll cancel out that error code also, but if it doesn't, I'm just kind of like whatever at this point. But, you know, this is nothing new to me. As you know, I've been a semi-loyal Chrysler Jeep fan for years, so I get the quirks and the bugs. It's whatever. As long as it runs, gets me from point A to point B, and I have the creature comforts that I like, I'm fine with it. But if you guys are running into the same issue and you need a quick fix, this is a good short-term solution. I don't know if I would recommend doing this long-term. There are no repercussions, but again, if you bring it into a shop for warranty work and they see, you know, this all jerry-rigged, they may have some reservations about maintaining your warranty. So, but that's about it. This is my first pitfall with this new 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL, but besides that, I love it. You know, it's a great vehicle. Hopefully this helps anyone out who may run into this dilemma, and hopefully this kind of helps you out with some options. All right, guys, take care.